I want you to imagine for a moment that you're in an interview room with 5 other people who have very similar education, skills, experience, and background. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what would allow you to guarantee that you're up for that next promotion or that next opening inside of this company that you're interviewing for? I want to really break down the 8 characteristics that I see top candidates and or employees really adopt to set themselves apart from the pack. Creating this video is because over the years I have coached hundreds of people. I have also recruited thousands of people through my time as a Fortune 500 recruiter, a Silicon Valley startup recruiter, and a top 100 AM law firm recruiter. Over these years, I have seen and become really obsessed with understanding what allows one person to kind of coast in their career and then what allows one person to really thrive in their careers. So I wanted to just put this video together to share with you the 8 characteristics that I really see successful job seekers, employees, or corporate professionals adopt in the workplace and or in their job search in the hopes that you can implement these too and give yourself an honest assessment. How many of these do I check off on my list and what do I need to improve upon? So the first characteristic is that successful job seekers are very much specialist rather than generalist. What I mean by this is they're so laser focused on this is the impact that I want to make. This is what it is that I'm looking for. This is what I want to do. They're not wishy-washy. They're not super broad or general, like I could do anything and fit into anything. They're focused on this is the value that I bring. This is what exactly it is that I want to do. When people can hear that, they can then start to help you in so many ways by opening up doors of opportunities or saying, oh my gosh, I love your passion for this. We have a need for this. Do you want a job with us, right? And so I really want you to recognize what it is that you want to be a specialist in. How can I get so good at this craft that I'm going to do whatever it takes? I'm going to read books. I'm going to take on extra courses online. I'm going to devour any podcasts that talk about this topic. I'm going to go on Quora and write my own answers to these topics and really establish myself as an expert in this field. Let me give you an example. So I might share that I'm a career coach that loves helping people navigate their careers. That might be a little bit too general and broad for a lot of people to know what to do with that, right? Versus if I said, I'm a career coach and I really specialize in helping ambitious corporate professionals figure out how to navigate their next job search. Typically, they're looking for some type of career transition. It could be a change in a company, a location, an industry change, or a whole department change. I help them figure out what is it that you really want to do and how do you position yourself to beat out all of the other applicants that are going for that same exact job. You might be hearing that and saying, wow, she's really specialized in this and I actually know somebody who could use her help. Or, oh my gosh, you just described my exact situation and we need to talk. That's what successful job seekers are doing. They're really getting lasered in and really focused and narrowed on here's what I can bring to the table. Here's what I specialize in. This is where I can really help you and immediately contribute to your organization or your cause. All right, let's talk about tip number 2, which is knowing what problem you solve. I think this is so important to understand because a lot of people feel that they're just getting paid to do a job, but actually you're getting paid to solve a problem. Every job is created because there's a problem that has been created. Whether it's a company needs to retain happier customers, or the company needs to boost its revenue, or the company needs to be strategic in their next product launch, or they want to get all of the accounting polished so that there's no more accounting errors and headaches. Whatever position you're filling, just know that you're solving a very specific problem, and it's really important to understand what that problem is and how you fit into that piece of the puzzle. Successful job seekers really speak to the results that they deliver, not necessarily the skills or the how-tos. This is so key because a lot of job seekers, when they present themselves, they're really focused on how they do what they do, but they don't actually really talk about what is it that they do. So going back to the example of being a career coach, I could share with you, I can write you an amazing resume, a really great LinkedIn profile. I can teach you how to finally learn how to network. But if I leave out the key piece of so what, which is the result, so that you can land a dream job, you can negotiate $30,000 more in your salary, you might be left with thinking, that's great. You know, she could do a really great job, but I still don't know like how she can ultimately help me. And you really want to connect those dots for your employer, and that's what top 1% job seekers are doing. Characteristic number 3 of successful job seekers is that they don't act like they know everything. I have some job seekers who come to me and they've been unemployed for 6 months and they say, you know what, I don't really need this help because I know like what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. Well, if you know what you're supposed to be doing and you're doing everything properly, why would your job search be dragging on this long, right? And so I want to give you the opposite of that, which is job seekers who come from amazing companies. Like they work for top companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, and they say to me, hey, Emily, I really want to take out all of the guesswork. I'm actually not an expert in job seeking. I've never been a full-time job searcher or recruiter or HR person. Would it be possible to help me just really take a look and give me some objective feedback on what is it that I'm doing wrong? Because clearly something is missing. I really need your help because I have to understand what is that gap that I'm not aware of. If I knew, I wouldn't be in this position that I've been in for so long, which is job searching for months on end now. Right? And so I really want to give you that picture of the difference because I've seen people who ask for help. They are willing to let go of their pride or their ego to get honest feedback and advice and professional guidance versus people who feel like they have everything figured out and they don't need any help because this is not brain surgery. They can figure it out on their own. Characteristic number 4 is that successful job seekers are always learning new skills. And this goes for employees as a whole. Those that are always looking to strive and perfect their craft are looking for ways that they can continuously learn and adopt things that they don't know, right? Like we have to believe that even if we're a master or an expert at what we do, there's always an even greater level of mastery and or it's expanding beyond what it is that we really specialize in, right? So going to my background, I believe that even as I am an expert in job search strategies, there's always new strategies occurring. Our whole recruitment cycle is continuously evolving. I'm always looking and researching what are the latest trends. I'm always testing new strategies and methods with my existing clients so that I can really stay on top of the curve. Other ways of staying on top of the curve is to look at things in my periphery, right? Leadership coaching, time and management, workplace conflict, the things that my employer, which are my clients in this sense, are really struggling with. I'm looking for ways to educate myself and make sure that I'm well versed and understand what are the latest tools or tips or industry leaders that I can follow and learn from. Looking back at your own job search or your career path, what is it that you really need to continuously educate yourself on, and how can you ensure that you're making yourself the most relevant and marketable candidate in that room? Characteristic number 5 is all about making sure that you give before you take, right? That's the golden principle of successful networking. I see a lot of unsuccessful job seekers really focus on I. It's like, I need a job, I need a job, I need a job. And I understand when you reach a point where you really need a job, that's probably all you're thinking about. However, if you just take a step back and you start to ask, how can I lead with value? How can I ask? How can I help this other person? You can call it karma, you can call it the circle of change, whatever it is, it always comes back to you, right? And so it's really important to take a step back from that needing energy because people pick up on that and they translate that into desperation. What is more impactful is if you can just really lead with, how can I help this other person? How can I make a difference or a change? Because that difference and change will come back to you in that sense. You can kind of think about it, the last time somebody did you a favor, you probably thought in your mind, ooh, I wonder how I can repay this person. How can I help this person back as much as they've helped me? So anytime you can really lead with helping another person or considering another person before you go into what it is that you need, you're always going to fare off better than just going in with what it is that you need. Characteristic number 6 of successful job seekers is that they always have a polished brand in place. They know how to market themselves. They have a really positive first impression because they don't have any typos or grammatical errors. They don't have any incomplete profiles up and running because they know that everything they do and everything they put out there is a reflection of who they are as a professional and individual. Professional, polished profile brand can stem beyond just the LinkedIn profile and resume. It could also go to any web portfolios, again, having a Quora page where you're really showing and demonstrating your expertise. And that leads me to characteristic number 7, which is successful job seekers really walk the walk rather than just talk the talk. I know a lot of job seekers are being buried in the pile of resumes for every single job that is open. However, A candidates or top 1% job seekers are really demonstrating that they are an expert in their niche or their industry. They're really demonstrating that I can not just talk the talk, but I'm really walking the walk. And as a result, again, here's where I'm found. Here's the publications that I'm writing. Here's what I wrote on my LinkedIn article or my status update. This is how I'm showing that I'm keeping up to date with relevant industry trends, all of the latest updates in this fast evolving field, and so on. So you don't have to necessarily be an expert or publish a book or be published in Forbes, but you should have at least some type of strategy playing to your strengths of where it is that you can show this is something you're so keen and interested on. Here's some proof of demonstrating that. And the final characteristic that I want to share with you is that successful job seekers don't take rejection or silence personally. They actually don't take anything personally. They really move into a state of detachment from any outcomes and results. And in fact, they expect to get rejected because rejection is just par for the course in their job search. I really wanted to share this because I also work with a lot of job seekers who are very attached to the outcomes in their job search. And this is really where they start to let self-doubt or their lack of confidence really start to build up and creep in because they take things so personally. Anytime a recruiter doesn't get back to them or they reach out to somebody who sees their message but doesn't respond, they start to make the worst interpretations that something has to be wrong with me. But in fact, there could be so many things like this person is on vacation or this person is so bombarded and overwhelmed because their number one priority isn't to get back to job seekers. It's actually they have somebody who just quit on them and now they have to do their job on top of their own. So there's so much that goes on, but the more you can practice detachment from the job search and again, follow all those other 7 characteristics and really bring that to the table, you will be successful in your job search. So let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious which characteristic describes you best, and or do you have another characteristic that you feel is really integral and important in helping you with your job search? I'd love to hear, and don't forget to join our private Facebook group called Cultivate Your Career, which is linked down below in the description box. I'd love to see you there. That's where I dish out my best career advice on a weekly basis and really just answer any and all questions that come up for you as you navigate your career. Until next time, continue cultivating your career.